Global. Pamela, welcome to the show.
Hey, honey, how are you?
All
Great
right,
to see
yourself. So we're going to talk about the endangered earthlings, right?
you. Yeah. The show. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do it.
Okay,
I'll
she
tell you all
started.
the stuff that nobody else heard. All of the gritty details of my life in the wilderness.
Beautiful. So, for those of you that don't know, the Endangered Earthlings is a show where she goes off grid and she gets her own water from the rain. She starts her own fires. She just self sustains herself, and I've been watching, of course, and you got some pretty scary episodes there.
Yeah, it gets interesting living alone in the wilderness. Yeah.
So tell us the one that I was really intrigued by were the coyotes that were kind of following you
Dude, that
guys.
was crazy. That was crazy. Normally coyotes are easy to scare off. They're pretty passive when it comes to predators bigger than them, and
Yeah.
all humans are bigger than them, and it's pretty easy to scare them off. But these coyotes, so what happened was the girls, my wolf dog, Antiope, and then she has a little dog that's a little mutt dog. Her name is
Okay.
Zatanna. So Andy
Oh,
and Zatanna run off through the wilderness, and I just let them go ahead of me when we're hiking. You know, um, I know there's a risk in doing that, that they're going to encounter something before I get to them, but
mm,
they're animals and that's their happy place. So, I mean, I'm taking a risk too, so I just let them go. And
gotcha.
this time, they happened to run. I'm guessing they ran up on the den of mother with babies because there was ungodly screaming, and my
Oh,
heart just dropped. I could hear it in the distance, and it took a second to make sure that it wasn't one of my babies that was screaming, that it
gotcha.
was a way too high pitched sound. So, I mean, I'm running full bore towards what I'm hearing, screaming at the dogs to come to me. And the alpha male coyote appeared about 50 feet in front of me, and then both girls came to my side.
Mm,
So in the episode, all you see is like trees and brush and glimpses of the coyote because I'm literally trying to tie them down,
mm,
to keep them from engaging the pack any more than they had already engaged them. Because the way coyotes fight, they're like little thugs. They have this little pack, and one will run up and bite, and then another runs up and bite, and then they bite, and then the whole pack, once they slow you down, the whole pack joins in. Well, we
mm.
were half a mile from our camp, and they decided to follow us. So, we had to walk through ambush territory with trees and rocks on both sides, and they wouldn't have attacked me because I'm a big predator, but definitely the dogs were fair game, and that's who they were pissed at. So it
Gotcha.
was terrifying. I'm not afraid of coyotes, but that day I was. Yeah.
Right. Now let's take it from the beginning because people are like, what in the hell are they talking about? So
What?
explain so explain to the people what is the Endangered Earthlings movement about and your show.
Right. Okay. So, Endangered Earthlings. Originally, what we did was we wrote a book. Shameless plug. This is the Endangered Earthlings Handbook, and
Nice.
the book is about what is happening to the planet, what's happening to the environment. We have over 300 peer-reviewed studies explaining scientifically, environmentally, what's happening to the planet. But
Okay.
more importantly, we have in real English translated that to what it means to you in your life, what the risks are for you. The fourth national climate assessment was done under the Trump administration, but the information that was produced in it is absolutely invaluable. Every single American should read it because it tells you specific to your region
Mm-hmm.
what is about to happen in your region. So, like, I'm in California, and California is pretty much just drying up like a raisin.
Wow.
Literally, cities are running out of water with no way to bring water in. We have a really cool solution for that in the book, which is what the book is about. It's the primary goal of the book was to reach the solutions chapter. And in the solutions chapter, we tell you how to prepare for all of these environmental changes in
Okay.
order to survive. And one of my favorite water solutions is a company called Source Water, and Source Water, I think it is
Okay.
zero math source. I'm pretty sure that's. Oh my God, Cody Friesen is gonna kill me. The professor that does the source water, but they're hydro panels. So these are solar panels that generate energy as well as 8 to 10 glasses of drinking water per person per day. Actually, I think the bigger panels do more than that. But anyway, so that's a viable solution. That's in the book. So in order to, especially through what happened with COVID, people just want to either go to work and come home, or log into work and log off without someone they know getting shot or getting COVID, or major catastrophic illness.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going through so much trauma right now, just trying to exist in our lives. So the last thing we wanted to do with the book was freak people out. Here's what you need to know. And you're just like, I can't know, don't tell me. So how do you tell some people that your planet is on fire without freaking them the fuck out? So what we did was, I have acting experience. I'm a comedian. So I and my team decided that we would start the show and use entertainment
Okay.
to reach the masses with how to survive what's coming, what's ahead. That was, the whole purpose, was to teach you guys how to navigate the water. So how can I show you how to use off-grid energy, how to harvest your own rainwater? How can I show you, you know, how to forage herbs right in your own backyard? How to grow your own greens in a tiny little
Nice.
space? How can I do all of that? So I went to the extreme, of course, because I'm so much Cisco. You know me, I'm so much. I went to the extreme. So loaded up our motorhome that is the Endangered Earthlings Earthling habitat with solar technology. We're about to add wind turbine to our off-grid energy, and all of the survival tools. I'm a survivalist, from literally from childhood, from my days of going to camp up in Yosemite survival camp and hunting with my dad and then my spouses afterwards.
Nice.
So what I do is I go way out into the wilderness and I demonstrate the off-grid energy, the water collection, the herb foraging. I demonstrate all these survival skills that you need to know in your home, but I do it in the extreme, and that I have no one else to help me. Most of the time, I don't even have access to a major road where I can get out relatively quickly,
Wow.
and that comes with its own perils. So
Now
that's what the
listen,
show's about.
I just want them to know how serious and dangerous this is. There are many times where you don't see people for the whole time that you're out there, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah, yeah.
and she's been stuck a few times. I was like,
Twice.
oh my gosh, I feel so nervous, but she just went out there doing her thing. But it just seems like it's like second nature to you. Now, why did you start doing this? What prompted you to want to spread the word to the world?
So, in 2006, I was head of marketing and eventually CEO for a company called VertCorp, which was a sustainable building component. It was
Okay,
a construction company that built sustainable buildings. And while Adrian Cronauer, they wrote the movie Good Morning Vietnam about him, he was my life mentor from my early 20s.
oh
So
wow,
I talked Adrian into being our spokesperson. So while I was writing the commercial for VertCorp, for Adrian, the dialogue for Adrian,
okay,
I found out things about what was happening to our planet that I had no clue were happening.
yes.
You heard Al Gore doing a lot of
I was
the.
just about to bring him up. I was going to say, so was Al Gore lying or was he on point?
He was on point. Sadly,
Wow.
he was on point, and a lot of us who scoffed at him are now eating our words. So, very shortly after that, if you read the book, I suffered my own catastrophic illness and lost everything. Lost the company, had to send my little girl to live with her father. I lost
Mm.
the ability to move. So I have a condition called generalized dystonia. I put a pill in
Mm.
my mouth called Cymbalta, trying to avoid opiate pain medication because of a broken back. I have a broken back too. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Oh, God.
So I
My
took
warrior
Cymbalta.
princess.
Hello, baby. And it caused what looked like seizures. My whole
Okay.
body just started jerking like this.
Mm.
But I was wide awake. Turns out it's called generalized dystonia, and that condition just got worse and worse and worse until I was in a hospital bed for off and on for a couple of years in a hospital bed
Oh,
in my house.
wow.
So I was really fortunate that a neurologist neurologist it came out.
All right.
A neurologist saw what was happening and prescribed the right medication. And so
Oh,
then I just got my body back, got control of my body. And, once you've lost everything, and I know there are a lot of people out there who are experiencing this firsthand, once you've lost your car, your income, everything, getting out of that rut is next to impossible. So literally the only resource I had was my body. And it took a really, really, really long time staying with family members, getting little side jobs, just earning what money I could earn to buy that car that gets you to and from work. So, but
Mm.
anyway, it was a very, very long road to hoe, and I decided I'm an ordained minister. I decided during that period of time when I was trying to figure out now what can I do with this amazing life I have. Holy shit, I can use all my limbs. What can I do with it? And so I decided that my ministry is the planet. That's literally my ministry now, is to
Beautiful.
minister to people on behalf of Gaia, planet Earth, however you want to say it.
Now,
So
I've known you for like how many years now?
I don't so many. I don't even know, like five maybe. I don't.
And I learned more about you in the last 5 seconds. I didn't know you went through all of this,
Yeah,
Pamela.
yeah. It's those things that give us the warrior spirit, though. It's those
Yes.
things that makes us less afraid to take risks and to jump out
Yes.
there and try things we've never done before.
Well,
So,
listen, I applaud you for doing that because you don't see many people out there putting their lives in danger to save others. And I thank you for being on my television network, DJC TV,
yeah,
which you guys can
thank
catch it every Thursday, a new episode. So I know that we were supposed to cover a few things, and I covered the water, but if you could just tell us the things that you wanted to cover, that'd be great.
well, you know, I'm a survivalist, and so what basically that means is dancing around in the wilderness wearing nothing but a tiara and combat boots, and that's about it. And that's so I'm
So
gonna
I,
let you live with that visual now. That
I don't
visual
know.
will never be out of your So, as a survivalist, the most important thing, and John Hedgecoth is our creative director, the actor John Hedgecoth, and he and I have had this discussion several times. And by the way, the show does not happen without the team. So Stephen Sutherland is our science officer. He is the one that does the location checking. He does all of the environmental studies remotely before I go to those areas, and the communications, the comms, all of that.
Beautiful.
And then
Okay.
John Hedgecock is our creative director. He's the one that oversees every aspect of what the public sees about Endangered Earthlings. Salma Mumtaz is our show producer. She's in New York. She's in Queens, in New York. Um, she's the one that comes up with the creative ideas and then bangs out all the legal stuff to back it up, and then sets up all the interviews and everything else that we have. And then
Beautiful.
Lauren Marie is the one that does our content. She's our editor and content manager. So without that team, none of this works. But on that note, John Hedgecoth and I, he's a Native American and
Oh, nice.
survivalist, and he and I have had the discussion several times about what the most important things are. The most important three things are that you set up. he says water, water, water first. I say shelter first. For me,
Okay.
personally. If I don't have somewhere to hide from the elements,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to survive. I can
Gotcha.
have a safe place to set up camp and then go out and look for water and food.
Sounds like
It's
me.
very, right?
Yeah,
So you
definitely.
guys on the same page?
Because if I don't have shelter and if I'm not warm, I'm useless.
Yes, exactly. Or cool, as it were. Like in the desert, I spent a lot of time in Death Valley. And in the desert, finding shade and shelter is the most important thing. And sometimes that
Mm,
means having to dig literally a den underneath a big boulder so that at least you have, the shade of the boulder and the cool. The further down you go, it's really
yeah.
cold at night in the desert. And the further down you go, just, don't dig back far enough that the boulder's going to sit on you because that's a bad day. But
Yeah.
the sand is cold the further down you go. But anyway, so while I was up there on the Mogollon Rim, which is in Arizona, that's 7,500 feet up, and it's absolutely gloriously beautiful.
Mm,
While I was up there, um, finding herbs was probably the easiest thing that I did up there, and I found
what-
9 different edible roots and herbs that I could survive on. I don't pull up roots when I'm doing these um, the excursions unless I have to because it kills the plant.
gotcha.
So, but I did partake of the leaves and the flowers, and it's delicious to eat flowers. You should eat
Wow.
flowers. It's delicious.
But do you know one thing that I have noticed? Like you know how people go on like Survivor or what
Yeah,
is that? Uh
they're
uh
naked and scared or
Naked and Afraid.
Survivor.
Naked and Afraid. And they're out
Naked
there
and
for almost
afraid.
21 days and they lose
Right.
like 30, 40, 50 pounds. You
Yeah.
look marvelous all the time. Like, what do you do? Tell us, how do you
So
maintain?
I'm going to translate that for you guys. So Pamela, how did you manage to stay fat when you were in the wilderness? um,
I don't know how to say it. I know talking to women about weight, but no, that's not what I meant.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm totally kidding with you. I put on a whole bunch of weight on the first 3 month break that I had. I put on a whole bunch of weight because I hadn't seen like McDonald's and those pizza and that for so long, and I just didn't pay attention to it happening, and it happened so fast. And once you hit 45 or older, it's so hard to get it back off. But
You
anyway,
Pam, and you
yeah.
know it.
What one thing, and I'm really glad that we brought that up. One thing that I do that's critically important is I take a lot of plant-based protein with me. So lots of cans of garbanzo beans because you can turn that into hummus.
Mm,
You can roast them like snacks. They're delicious roasted. So I do take a lot of Gardein meat substitute alternatives with me. So I do have plenty of food that I pack up with me. I don't go up specifically to survive off the land. That's a completely different show, and I don't have it in me. Actually, the whole point of this is to take this motorhome, which is like it's my house. It's my little
mhm.
tiny house and show you normal everyday living, but in extreme conditions. So my normal everyday living, I'm able to keep those things around, thankfully. Yeah, I don't
Gotcha.
get to Walmart for 30 days, but
Can I ask you like a question about drinking water? Um,
absolutely.
if I got a clean, say it's like a plastic trash can, it's
Uh-huh.
clean and everything, and
Right.
I put it in a clean area of my yard where there are no like leaves falling or whatever, and it rains heavy. Can I just scoop that water out and drink it?
No, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Um, hang on 1 second. Okay,
Okay,
you talk to these guys for a minute. Talk to
got
them.
you. For those of you that just tuned in, this is your boy DJ Cisco. We're with Pamela Dawn of the Endangered Earthlings, and that is a show on our television network on Roku and Fire Stick, and on our website, DJC And we are how many episodes in, Pam?
We just had 8. The season finale on Thursday is the 9th episode.
So the ninth episode is going to be the season finale this Thursday, and we're just getting you guys up to date on the show.
Very
So
excited.
don't So don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water. And let me give you a personal nightmare story. Remember way back a couple of weeks ago when I was up on the Mogollon Rim and I harvested all of that rainwater. You want to have a large area to collect the water, so I
Okay.
use a survival poncho. So spread that out over whatever, you know, not orifice. It's not a vehicle. Container. Words worked.
Okay.
Put that over the container so that it goes in more easily. But anyway, so and remember, I had it nicely under those trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I harvested 30 gallons of fresh
Ooh,
water from up there in the mountains, which you would think that is the freshest water of,
yes.
almost glacial, right? So here's what we find out after 3 days of drinking this water.
Lord.
That, okay, think about it. The water came down through the trees where the birds shit,
Oh
where
Lord.
the birds shit, where the animals climb, where the frogs who were mating over in the pond across from us, all of that, those particulates are in the air. So all of that lands in the water. So, dude, I did manage to lose 9 pounds that last week, but I
I bet
don't
you did.
recommend the method. Do not recommend that for weight loss. It was so bad. And as you can imagine, I have a septic tank on board that filled up so fast. I'll let you sit with that for a minute too.
All right. So okay. So let me rephrase the question. If you didn't have it going through the trees and you just had a
Yeah,
bucket in a field,
yeah, it won't
you
matter. It won't matter. Either way, whatever particulates are in, and I forget what they're called. They're like a little amoebas even.
oh
The actual microorganisms can get picked up into the clouds, into the air.
wow.
So
Okay.
this is what you want. This is water purifier. It's a two-step. It's really cheap. You can get it at Walmart for like $10. It's a two-step process. You put in the purifier, and then I think that's an alkaline tablet after. I don't remember. But anyway, so you can collect it basically from anywhere as long as you kill the buggers that you collect into it, and then you want to filter it through a filter still because you're going to have sand and all kinds of particulate that comes in with the rainwater.
So
So
boiling it is not enough. Boiling it
yeah,
won't work.
boiling it is great, but you
Oh,
still want to screen it. You want to have it
so
at
it's
least through a screen or a sieve, a tight sieve, so you literally get the pebbles and the rocks and the bird
gotcha.
poop. And the bird
Wow,
poop out.
that's crazy.
But
I'm sorry
it's
that
really
you.
nice. Okay.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but that's a part of
No,
living on
it's great.
the
I came back all skinny and svelte. I'm like, I look so good. Look at me, I'm so
road.
thin. I'm
You took a
dying. My butt's on fire, but
that was a rain colonic,
I took a high caloric rain colonic. Thank you.
and I'm like, listen. So, this is crazy. Have you ever had any encounters with any larger animals like bears or anything?
Oh yeah. Literally the last day we were there. If you watch the last episode, season one, episode 8, you will see that. Okay, so remember when I was stuck in Death Valley and it took me
Yeah,
4 days by myself in the middle of the desert
Death
to
Valley.
build a stone road out of the desert where I got stuck. What happens is in the desert, it's a tight, hard crust on top, but the rig was heavy enough that it busted through that crust. And once you bust through the crust, it's nothing but just powder sand. So
Oh
that's what
no.
I got. But I had to build a road out of Death Valley. So while I was up on the Mogollon Rim during monsoon season, there were 4 days straight of monsoon,
Hmm.
and the rig literally sunk. It sunk
Oh,
into the clay. So, I'm a go-getter. I got out there and I started digging, and that didn't work. And so I got out there and I built a little sandstone road, and that didn't work. And it just kept spinning deeper and deeper into the clay
hmm.
until literally the bumper was on the mud wall. It wasn't going
Unbelievable.
anywhere. Yeah, so got stuck there. The season finale, you get to see how I get out. Okay, so
Oh,
I got out. but I had to move to a different location because it was the soil was too soft to stay there. So I
Mm,
went to another location to stay one night, and it wasn't where we had been previously camping. And
mm.
so I woke up, like I normally do around 6 in the morning. I got all geared up, head to toe in my survival stuff. I was putting the leashes on the dogs, and the wolf dog went absolutely ape shit.
Oh,
And I woke up in time to see a mama bear running in front of the rig, and then the baby bear just froze and was
oh,
staring straight at us. So, I mean, literally like 10 seconds later, the dogs would have been out there and the wolf would have gone after the cub and the mom would have eaten the wolf and I would have just said, take me too, I don't care. It would have ended me to lose her. So yeah, I mean, it's really divine intervention.
so, what's your take on global warming?
Well, I really prefer that we stay away from the term global warming because it's misleading, which leads most people to believe that the planet is only warming. Because the climate is changing, because the global climate temperature, like the ocean has absorbed 90% of the excess heat that the planet has absorbed, 90% has gone into the ocean. When the ocean warms, it does something called thermal expansion and it starts rising. So it's not rising because the glaciers are falling in, it's rising because of thermal expansion. So that means that cities are going underwater, and we have more extreme temperatures and variation fluctuations of temperature during all of our seasons. So
Okay.
some places the winters are getting colder. So it's not just global warming; it's climate change, and we're seeing a lot of polar vortexes. So weather is being affected, but the most critical thing that's happening is happening right here in California. I don't know if you saw how many wildfires we had this year,
Of
but
course, I've been watching that. Like incredible.
yeah, the entire state was on fire. So think about okay, so human beings have built all of these structures that are now part of what's burning. All of the chemicals in those structures or whatever was in there is now released into our air pollution. So the air quality is going down. At the same time, we are in a 20-year drought. So because of the drought, we're running out of water. We can't use water to put out fires in all places. So what do they use? They dump chemicals. They go into the ground. I mean, California is really in trouble, and there are other places who are suffering catastrophic effects from climate change. But I really think California is going to be the place where you see the worst of it first. I mean, other
But
than the hurricanes that are occurring.
but in California, not all of the fires started from like lightning strikes and just whatever. It it some of
Stupid
them
people.
was from human negligence. A whole bunch of them I heard.
Stupid people. And like the fires in Texas, um, is that the fires in Texas? Some of them are caused by malfunctions of the literal infrastructure. So you have systems that are failing, old, outdated systems for transmitting wires and water and
Okay.
sewage and all of that. The infrastructure is failing as well, which is why it's so critical that we rebuild our infrastructure. So you see a lot of fires getting started from power lines that are
Yeah.
overloaded. Yeah, lightning strikes, but even if you are a trained firefighter and you start a deliberate fire to create a barrier, it
Hmm.
just takes one little ember in the wrong direction, one gust of
Blow it.
wind.
Yeah.
So accidents happen, but yeah, a lot of human negligence. People just decide they want to go camping and they start a campfire, and one little ember, and paradise is gone. So it's
S- Something that's been really bothering me lately. It's been bothering me like all my life, but like back here lately, it's just people destroying forest and farmland just to build these tenement buildings where they could have used other lands that had abandoned buildings on them already. It is so heartbreaking to drive around.
but when they look at what it's going to cost for them to do, number one, the demolition, then the rezoning and restructuring of that existing infrastructure. So the city water, all of those pipes have to be replaced. All of the electrical that comes into that building has to be replaced and updated. Even when you demolish the entire building, then you have to rebuild using old systems. You have to revamp them. So it is cheaper for them to go to empty lands. But here's the quandary. There are about to be 8 billion of us. Once we reach 10 billion, a healthy planet can no longer support us. That's the degree of overpopulation that we're experiencing. But housing 8 billion people, when you go out, um, into a 30-acre parcel of land, and you dig down 50 feet or however long, however deep you have to go to put in the piping and the sewer pipes and the drain pipes and all of that, you have just destroyed 50 feet of microorganisms that had been supporting that natural ecosystem, that natural environment. So
Yeah.
that natural environment is what provides you the food that is indigenous to that area that will be there, readily replenishable, replenishing
Yes.
itself, forageable. So, I mean, it's counterintuitive to destroy nature to build human habitats. Personally, the solution that we hype in the back of the book is for urban situations, build up, keep building up in urban environments, but make every single building that you build completely self-sustaining like an island. Have it provide its own food. Aquaponic vertical gardens that are attached to, aquaponic means there's fish in it. So you have edible fish who are pooping in water, feeding the vertical plants, hydroponic plants. The plants filter that water by consuming those nutrients, and then it goes back into the fish. It's a self-feeding cycle essentially. So you can have fish and you can have vegetables growing in that building. You have wind and solar and hydro panels on the top providing energy and water. It's a self-sustaining building. So keep building up for
Yeah.
urban type environments. But when it comes to living in small communities, build small villages on the surface of the planet in the natural environment and let it stay natural. So there are
Right.
ways to do it. It's just not convenient and it's not lucrative for the big corporations yet.
Got you. Now, where can people find out all of this information that you just told us about? In which book?
The Endangered Earthlings Handbook, available now. You can find it on Amazon if you go to any of our social media. Our
Let them see it again,
website,
please. Let them see it again. Bring it
our
up.
website is endangeredearthlings.org.
Endangered Earthlings. Beautiful book. Beautiful book. I
Thank
got
you,
my
and thank
copy.
you so much for contributing. Thank
Yes,
you.
copy. It's very informative, and you're doing a great job. And I
Thank
love watching the Endangered Earthlings after upload.
you.
So the season finale is this Thursday. It'll
Yes, it's ridiculous, Cisco. It's ridiculous. It's so insane. There was so much alcohol used in the production of that
oh
finale. So much abuse of alcohol. So much. It was battered
wow.
the alcohol.
Oh Lord. All right,
You don't.
so this season finale drops Thursday at 4 p.m. After this, what are you going to do, and when you're going to come back?
All right. So we're going to be off until the spring. And we are working on several other projects on the side. The Endangered Earthlings organization as a nonprofit, we're looking for funding. So we're focusing on finding that financier. So we have our business model canvas ready to send out and do some fundraising for the organization so we can keep going. And then in the spring, then I will be headed to Ulysses. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta wait for it. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. You'll find out. Everyone will find out. We'll see. We'll do another interview when
Oh,
we.
wait. So you're not going to tell me now? Are you kidding me?
I mean, I'd have to see you, but I love you, so I just literally.
You're still not going to tell me. Listen, for those of you that didn't catch it yet, catch it on DJC Radio Global Virtual Nation, which is the company that owns DJC TV. Go to your Fire Stick right now, type in DJC TV, and find this red awning and this logo, and add it to your apps. Go to your Roku channel, type in DJC TV, and add it to your Roku device, and you can catch the Endangered Earthlings, catch up on the episodes. I think we're up to 8, and the season finale will be this Thursday, episode 9. Some great programming, very insightful. My girl Pamela Dawn gone off the grid, giving us some life-saving tips. Let me just pick your brain for 2 more minutes, okay? Because I'm really into this now. I love everything about nature and life. One, approximately since you've started this, how many species have we lost?
Well, the Center for Biodiversity estimates that if we average out all of the species that we've lost since the industrial era really kicked in, we have averaged about 200 species a day. That's how rapidly they're falling. That doesn't mean that today we lose 200 species. That means that since we started paying, I believe it has been 120 years, and it's in the book. It's not data that the brain is not pulling it up. In the period of time since we've been paying attention to species falling, that number has exponentially increased to the point where now we are averaging 200 species a day lost since that date. So
Gotcha.
we lose several species of life every single day. Another species goes extinct.
Unbelievable. Just yesterday, I was reading up on something because I love bears and I'm into nature and things like that. Listen to this. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing. It gave me goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it. And
I'm scared of bears and sharks. That's the only thing on the planet that I'm afraid of is bears and sharks. Not black bears, but the big, the big brown.
Yeah. Now listen. So polar bears, since that ice cap is shrinking down to nothing, they are venturing inland and mating with grizzly bears. Can you believe it? Yes.
That's some Godzilla King Kong mating. That's some crazy stuff.
So somebody brought up a good point. They said, "Do you think it's the polar bear's instinct to go in and still share their bloodline?"
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think is happening there, guys? After you finish watching this show, go look at the polar bear mixed with the grizzly. They call them grizzly bears. Looks insane, but yeah. What's your take on that?
Okay, so if you look at human beings in the state of our evolution, I'm not talking about going back and comparing, the different states of existence before we became the Homo sapiens that we are now. I mean, since our documented historical primary evidence, contemporary evidence of society, let's go from there. How much have we changed? We got taller, we got thicker, we got stronger. Our intelligence seems to have, well, some of us seem to diet. But we haven't changed all that much. Our physical attributes have not changed because we haven't been challenged to continue to exist. All of these other species that are still here, we are forcing them into extinction, which is challenging their continued existence. So it makes complete sense to me that a polar bear would find a way to combine its DNA with an already existing mammal in warmer climates. That makes complete sense, but it's still terrifying.
It's terrifying. People are like, "Oh, it's so cute." I was like, "This is not cute. This is a sign of the times. This is not good." You know what I mean? So is there anything that we didn't cover? Because I love earth science. I love speaking about nature. I could keep you for the rest of the evening.
The thing that my daughter just taught me about bears, like literally right before we encountered the black bear, there's a saying that I had never heard in all of my survival training. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, you're dead. Yeah, that doesn't rhyme, so it's probably not what it is. But yeah, like a polar bear, just cross yourself, and it's it. It's over because you can't
Yeah,
outrun them in the environment. And a brown bear will play kitty with you unless it's hungry or really pissed at you. Then it will just. But yeah, black bears, if you're loud and you make yourself look bigger, so that's important to know. But if you're going up in their space, please carry a big can of bear mace because they do not mess around. Like even bobcats and mountain lions, we've encountered them. Those guys will back down if you are aggressive enough and they don't get the sneak on you. If they get the sneak on you, it's a matter of getting out
yeah.
their jaws. But like, yeah, brown bears, man, you come on the wrong day, you gotta have that can of bear spray. So yeah, just be
Yeah.
prepared.
Or
What? Or
or a
what?
fire or a firearm. I believe in firearms because
Yeah,
I've seen bear spray and the
typically,
bears walk right through it.
yeah,
I've
typically
seen that
people
before.
who are hiking that carry firearms for protection generally have pistols, and that's just gonna piss a bear off. So at least with the bear spray, the bear survives and you survive. So it's a preferred alternative to killing it.
Well, oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay. It's just that every single species of animal on this planet is going to be threatened before we are. So we just have to make sure we can keep as many of them alive as we can. And the other thing I want
Got
to
you.
say before we sign off is I think I have it right here. So there's a little device. If you spend any time in nature at all, this is absolutely imperative. This is called, and I still don't know how to say it, Zoleo or Zoeo. This is a satellite GPS tracking device.
Oh,
And
nice.
this little thing, you just hook it on your body, and no matter where you are, if you don't have signal, you can still flip this little thing down, hit that button, and that alerts the closest EMS and it gives it your satellite GPS location. So if
Oh,
they have
that's dope.
a paracord on you and whistles so that they can continue to find you, this has a really bright light, which I have to cover up at night because it's so bright. So it has a bright light in case you're lost and they have to find you at night. This thing
Wow.
blinks so bright that I literally can't even have it in the same room. So that's why
Wow.
I have the thing on. But anyway, so it's $200, and then the service is around $30 a month. You can even set it up if
Okay.
you're an hiker, so that when you're out hiking, it will repeatedly send a ping to your breadcrumb person that will continually see the last place that you were. So, like every
Oh,
15 minutes or so, it'll say, "I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm right here." So anyway,
great.
that is imperative. I mean, even the people that were in that building that collapsed, if anyone had had this on them, which
Yeah.
literally I keep it next to me or on my body at all times, it hangs from my purse when I'm out and about. So even if I was in a car accident or whatever, I would be able to
Yeah.
alert EMS and they'd be able to exactly pinpoint my satellite location. So highly
That's good.
recommend getting this GPS satellite tracker for anyone who goes in the wilderness. And
Thank you so much. So, in conclusion, show us the book again and tell them when they can catch your season finale.
this is the Endangered Earthlings Handbook, and we focus in the book on the solutions for the average person. We translate all the climate science of what's happening on the planet right now. We give it documentation and peer-reviewed studies, but we translate it for the average person so you understand what's happening, but more importantly, how to prepare for it, how to be ready for the technology solutions. Thursday, absolute drunken mayhem, ridiculously drunk alien season finale. So don't miss it. Debauchery abounds.
On
I think it was
DJCTV. All
DJ
right.
Roku and Fire Stick. I love DJ CTV. I love what's the show that's on right after mine? What's
It is Trauma Life Campaign
oh
Headquarters.
Oh my
The
God,
video.
it's so good. The music
Yeah.
is amazing. Yeah, both my
Yes.
nieces love that show too. So definitely tune into trauma life.
Well,
Great.
listen, Pam, it is a pleasure to watch you out in the wilderness because you're easy on the eyes, and
Not
you,
always. Not
and
always.
and you definitely make it look like you're having fun. So
Uh,
thank you so much for sharing that with us. And people, go out there and purchase that book, the Endangered Earthlings. You can get it everywhere, and check out her show, the Endangered Earthlings, every Thursday on DJC TV. So we're gonna get up on out of here. Okay. All right.
thank
Thank